welcome to the Business Report on KRYC, Rhythm 105.9 FM. I'm your girl, Gigi CApone, and you know I've got a hot celebrity interview for you guys today. I'd like to introduce to our listeners Shaky J, a.k.a. the Shakin Jamaican. He's got an album out right now called The Spaceman Bubble, which is awesome. This is as outrageous as it sounds. The tunes are awesome. You got to check it out. Without further ado, Shaky J, welcome to our show.
Hey, greetings everyone, and thanks for having me.
You've got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I got a few eggs in a few different baskets that I have brewing up. And I have the record that I put out in June this year, and there's been a couple acts I've been on tour with, and, I'm just trying to stay busy,
How's your album doing? How's the sales doing? Are you surprised with the amount of sales that you're getting, or do you expect for them to be so great?
To be honest, I am pleasantly surprised. The record, when I, put it out, from conception to when I put it out, was really a personal project, something that I really wanted to do for myself. And it's music that I've just had swimming around in my head for a number of years. And even though I wanted to put it out for the public to hear, I didn't have any great expectations in the sense, like I didn't think, all right, I'm going to be a rock star next week. Way to go. It was more of something I did for myself, and the positive reception and how well it's been doing has been very pleasantly surprising.
Yeah, I've seen you on television. You were on the news. How was that?
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I was on Daytime Toronto, and we did a nice little impromptu interview, and I did a live performance with a really good friend of mine, a guy named KRYC. He's been around the Toronto music scene for about 15 years, and he's actually one of the artists that I work with here from KRYC and the Peacemakers. Yeah, we did a nice little TV spot, and the response we got from that was really like my email was just totally full by the end of the day with just people asking where they can get the record, where they can see us play. It was really cool, very cool.
Oh, man, that must have been fun.
Oh, it very much so, very much so. And it's just an eye-opener that you never know until you try. So all the years that I've spent sitting on this record, not putting it out, you eventually have to act on the things that you want to do for anything to happen, and I'm definitely glad that I did.
Tell me about the artwork for your cover. That's got a pretty special story behind it.
Yes, it does. The artwork was actually done by Melissa Betsy, who is my publicist and my manager as well. And she is an art graduate from OCAD here in Toronto, and is quite an established visual artist. I know she has works that are shown internationally. Bravo did a segment on her contributions to Canadian art. So I asked her for the record that if she could do a hand-drawn painting for me. And what we did, she spent many weeks working on it. And what we did, I had a graphic designer come in, and we scanned it, so it'll fit the CD cover. And we used different parts of the painting to do the back and the front of the album. So even though you see that the images on the album are spread out, it's actually all from one painting that she did.
Yeah, I kind of like Melissa.
Yeah, she is very, very hard worker and a great contributor to the Canadian music scene here as well. Not only does she work alongside with what I'm doing here, she works with a lot of other independent artists here in Canada and has done quite a bit of work for them as well. She's the only one that has been able to book unsigned acts on Canada AM, which is a CTV morning program here in Canada, where they have live performances, at least once a day in the morning. They have a wide audience, and she's the only one who's actually able to book unsigned acts onto something like that. So she's very effective and a great contributor to the scene here.
And absolutely a wonderful addition to Gigi CApone PR. She's actually our new lead publicist for Canada, and we're really excited about that part.
Yeah, yes, she is. And she keeps moving forward with what she's doing, and things keep getting bigger and brighter.
Now, Melissa tells me that you got some more Juno action going on. But let's rewind that a little bit. You're already a Juno-nominated producer. So this isn't your first time around with the Junos, but you've actually applied for a few more categories this year, right?
Yes, this year I did apply for some of the technical categories other than the genre of music that the album is in. This particular album, I not only self-produced, but I also engineered in the studio. So I put it in for those categories. The previous nomination that I had was when I produced Lyndon John's Brighter Days record. That's the record that he wrote, that I put together for him. And we got the nomination for Reggae Recording of the Year, which is a big moment for everybody.
That's amazing. Now, you did all of them. What do you think that you're most likely to win for the Juno? What do you think you're the strongest in?
I think it's a pretty strong contender for the reggae category, being that I try to stick to traditional sounding reggae on the record and do what we Jamaicans refer to as the Studio One style. Reggae has been modernized in several different ways over the last 15 to 20 years, from the 90s and so forth. And I really wanted to bring the root style, what they call the golden age of reggae from the 70s. I wanted to bring that sound to the forefront on my record. And it's something not very common today, and not a lot of people are doing. So I just think the fact that, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I think the fact that I'm going back to the roots and trying to do a more traditional sound gives it a better chance of being heard. I mean, I would be happy with another nomination. These fields are very competitive, and there are a lot of great producers and great musicians here in Toronto and in Canada as well. So just a nomination alone, again, would be very honorable.
And for those who don't know, the Juno Awards are the Canadian equivalent to the Grammys, correct?
Yes. We got our snow-covered Grammy.
So, what inspires you? How did you even get this far? Because you came a long way with reggae. You started out many years ago with your reggae. Tell us what inspires you and how you got to where you are now.
The main inspiration, I find, just comes from the love of playing and performing music. I've been performing since I was 14 in Kingston, Jamaica, and I've predominantly worked as a session player. I've had my own bands over the years, off and on, and between all that, I've worked with a lot of different singers, a lot of different acts, touring all over Europe, the Caribbean, the States, and Canada. And I find those years of just playing, performing, and working with other people just inspired me to want to do my own thing, and in my head created my own voice for the music that I wanted to put out. And it was just really a culmination of experiences and circumstances that brought it together. I think any musician would tell you, after about 20 years on the scene, playing with the who's who of reggae, you eventually want to break out and do your own thing.
And you're the bass man for Arsenal, aren't you?
Yes, Arsenal Ska has been around Toronto since 1994. I've been with them going on 4 years now as the bass player. And we're Toronto's longest running ska band. We play a lot of the traditional ska music from the 50s and 60s in Jamaica. Not just ska, we also do a lot of rock steady, like a lot of Alton Ellis and Prince Buster and stuff like that. And a lot of reggae, of course. Occasionally we do back international acts coming into Canada. Some of the acts we've played with, we've performed with Derek Morgan, who is one of the founders of ska music in Jamaica. We also played with the very legendary Ernie Smith, who is the one that sang that song, Duffy Gunman. Very, very famous song in Jamaica. And he also played the music for King of Stewart, which is another huge Jamaican classic. So playing with Ernie Smith and performing alongside him was a really big honor for all of us, because we get the opportunity to play with one of the founders of this music that we love so much.
Well, we don't want to leave the audience waiting any longer for the fantastic music that we've built up the anticipation for. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and your music at? Where's the best place online? And then we're going to get into the Spaceman Bubble.
Best place online to find me is reverbnation.com/ShakyJ. I keep the page updated with blog posts, with performance dates that are coming up. You can hear my music on there. There's a lot of videos of me performing at various shows. You can also hit me up on Facebook, just searching the Shakin' Jamaican, and share a little bit of an insight on what it's like to be Shaky J for a day.
All right. You're also on iTunes, correct?
Yes, I have Spaceman Bubble up on iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, in all the worldwide regions. It's a very easy find by just typing in Spaceman Bubble, Shaky J, or the Shakin' Jamaican, and you'll see the album pop up. It's online for $9.99.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we get into the music?
The only thing I'd like to say is it's a pleasure to be heard in California, and I hope all my neighbors down south love the music, and I can't wait to get down there with my guitar and do some playing.
Yeah, you're going to have to get out here. We're going to have you and the Refugee All-Stars come out here and do a gig together for us.
That sounds like a great idea.
All right. Well, without further ado, KRYC Rhythm 105.9 FM listeners, this is the Spaceman Bubble. Do really well, Mark.